Hello, my name's Kev. Welcome to KG Graves, the one-on-one series. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content like this. A big thank you to all of you who are already subscribed. This is number 43, Arthur Conan Doyle, at All Saints Churchyard in Minstead, Hampshire. Sir Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle was born on the 27th of May 1859 in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was a British writer and physician. Arthur's early life was not very pleasant. In 1864 the family scattered due to his father's alcoholism, and he had to go and live with Mary Burton, the aunt of a family friend. In 1867 the family came back together, living in a squalid tenement flat. From 1875 to 1876 his family sent him to the Jesuit school Stella Matutina in Feldkirch, Austria, as they thought it would broaden his academic horizons. From 1876 to 1881 he studied medicine at the University of Edinburgh Medical School. During this period he also studied practical botany at the Royal Botanic Garden. While studying, Arthur began writing short stories. His earliest fiction, The Haunted Grange of Gorrasthorpe, was unsuccessfully submitted to Blackwood's magazine. His first published piece, The Mystery of Sasali Valley, a story set in South Africa, was printed in Chambers's Edinburgh Journal on the 6th of September 1879. After graduating with a Bachelor of Medicine and Master of Surgery (MB and CM) degrees from the University of Edinburgh in 1881, he was ship's surgeon on the SS Mayumba during a voyage to the West African coast. In 1882 Arthur partnered with his former classmate George Turnavine Budd in a medical practice in Plymouth, but their relationship proved difficult, and Arthur soon left to set up an independent practice. He arrived in Portsmouth in June 1882 with less than £10 to his name, and managed to set up a medical practice in Southsea. The practice was not successful. While waiting for patients, Arthur returned to writing fiction. He completed his Doctor of Medicine (MD) degree, an advanced degree beyond the basic medical qualification in the UK, with a dissertation on Tabes dorsalis in 1885. He also married Louisa Hawkins, nicknamed Tui. Arthur is best known for his writings of Sherlock Holmes. His first work featuring Holmes and Dr. Watson was A Study in Scarlet, written in just 3 weeks and published on the 20th of November 1886 by Ward Lock & Co, and was paid £25 for all the rights to the story. Holmes was partially modelled on Arthur's former university teacher Joseph Bell, and this was even commented on by Robert Louis Stevenson. His character Dr. John Watson owes his surname to a Portsmouth medical colleague of Arthur's, Dr. James Watson. A sequel to A Study in Scarlet was commissioned, and The Sign of the Four appeared in Lippincott's magazine in February 1890. In early 1891 he embarked on the study of ophthalmology in Vienna. He had previously studied at the Portsmouth Eye Hospital to qualify to perform eye tests and prescribe glasses. Vienna had been suggested by his friend Vernon Morris as a place to spend his months and train to be an eye surgeon, but Arthur found it too difficult to understand the German medical terms being used in his classes in Vienna, and soon quit his studies there. For the rest of the 2-month stay in Vienna, he pursued other activities such as ice skating with his wife Louisa and drinking with Brinsley Richards of the London Times. He also wrote The Doings of Raffles Haw. Within 3 months of his departure from Vienna, Arthur returned to London. He opened a small office and consulting room, but according to his autobiography, had no patients, and his efforts as an ophthalmologist were a failure. Arthur's father died in 1893. In December 1893, to dedicate more of his time to his historical novels, Arthur had Holmes and Professor Moriarty plunged to their deaths together down the Reichenbach Falls in the story The Final Problem. Public outcry, however, led him to feature Holmes in 1901 in one of his most famous novels, The Hound of the Baskervilles. On October the 24th, 1902, Arthur was knighted by King Edward VII, whose coronation in August had followed the death of his mother, Queen Victoria, in January 1901. In 1903, Arthur published his first Holmes short story in 10 years, The Adventures of the Empty House, in which it was explained that only Moriarty had fallen, but since Holmes had other dangerous enemies, especially Colonel Sebastian Moran, he had arranged to make it look as if he too was dead. Holmes ultimately featured in a total of 56 short stories, the last being published in 1927, and 4 novels by Arthur, and has since appeared in many novels and stories by other authors. In 1906, his wife Louisa died. In 1907, Arthur married Jean Elizabeth Lecky. He had met and fallen in love with Jean in 1897, but had maintained a platonic relationship with her while his first wife was still alive, out of loyalty to her. Jean outlived him by 10 years and died in London in 1940. Arthur fathered 5 children. He had 2 with his first wife, Mary Louise, born in 1889, and Arthur Aline Kingsley, born in 1892. He had an additional 3 with second wife, Dennis Percy Stewart, born in 1909, Adrian Malcolm, born in 1910, and Jean Lena Annette, born in 1912. None of Arthur's 5 children had children of their own, so he has no living direct descendants. Arthur went on to write many other stories and novels with both historic and fictional content during the rest of his life, many of which were made into films and TV series. He was also a keen sportsman, playing as a goalkeeper for the Portsmouth Association Football Club under the pseudonym A.C. Smith. He also played cricket between 1899 and 1907 for the Marylebone Cricket Club and started a rifle club. He was an amateur boxer and keen golfer, being elected to captain of the Crowborough Beacon Golf Club in Sussex. He entered the English Amateur Billiards Championship in 1913. Arthur was found clutching his chest in the hall of Windlesham Manor, his house in Crowborough, Sussex, on the 7th of July 1930. He died of an heart attack at the age of 71. His last words were directed towards his wife, which were, "You are wonderful." At the time of his death, there was some controversy concerning his burial place. He was first buried on the 11th of July 1930 in Windlesham Rose Garden. He was later reinterred together with his wife in Minstead churchyard in the New Forest, Hampshire. A statue honours Arthur at Crowborough Cross in Crowborough, where he lived for 23 years. There is also a statue of Sherlock Holmes in Piccadilly Place, Edinburgh, close to the house where he was born. Let's see where his grave is located. So, there you have it, the grave of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, British writer and physician. If you have enjoyed watching this video, then please like, subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.